All right, let's dive into one of nature's biggest puzzles. I'm talking about a mystery that stumped some of the greatest minds in history for literally thousands of years. And it all revolves around one creature that seems to break all the rules of biology, the eel.
I mean, just think about this for a second. A fish that travels thousands of kilometers to some secret location in the middle of the ocean, gives birth, and then just vanishes. Forever. And no, this isn't the plot of a sci-fi movie. This is the real, honest-to-goodness life cycle of the eel.
And believe me, it only gets weirder from here. We're talking about a creature that can breathe through its skin, wriggle across dry land, and even climb up wet walls. It's just incredible. But for all those strange abilities, for centuries, the best and brightest minds couldn't answer one simple question. Where on earth do baby eels even come from?
Okay, so to really get into all these secrets, we have to start with the basics. We need to be super clear on what an eel actually is, and just as importantly, what it isn't.
You know, the first thing most people think when they see an eel is snake. It's a super common mistake. But nope, biologically they are 100% fish. They've got gills for breathing underwater, they've got fins for swimming, the whole deal. Snakes, on the other hand, they're reptiles, and they have lungs, just like us.
And they have this incredibly unique lifestyle. The scientific term for it is catadromous. It's a bit of a mouthful, but what it means is they live most of their lives, we're talking decades sometimes, in fresh water, rivers and lakes. But then, to reproduce, they make one single epic journey back to the deep ocean where they were first born.
And that migration, right there, that's what leads us to the biggest puzzle of all. It's the question that drove people crazy for more than 2,000 years. Where do these things actually come from?
And you really can't overstate how huge this mystery was. I mean, way back in ancient Greece, the philosopher Aristotle, one of the smartest guys ever, he just gave up and decided they must magically appear out of mud. Seriously, because nobody could ever find their eggs or see the mate. And even into the 1800s, scientists were still totally in the dark. The very first real clue didn't even show up until the early 1900s, when they started finding these tiny, see-through larvae drifting across the Atlantic. So where were all these little larvae coming from? Well, the answer, finally nailed down in 1922, is a place called the Sargasso Sea, and this place is just as mysterious as the eels themselves. It's not a sea in the way we usually think of one. It has no coastline. It's just this huge remote patch of the Atlantic Ocean that's defined by these giant floating mats of seaweed. And this is it. This is the secret birthplace for every single European and American eel. And the journey they take to get there, it's just mind-blowing. We're talking up to 6,000 kilometers. That's more than 3,700 miles on a one-way ticket. They do this just once in their entire lives. They spawn, and then they die. That's it. Their life's mission is complete.
Okay, so that epic journey is one thing, but it's really only half the story. An eel doesn't just get bigger as it gets older. Oh no, it completely transforms. You could almost say it lives 4 totally different lives.
So first, it starts as this thing called a leptocephalus. It's basically a transparent, leaf-shaped little larva that just drifts on the ocean currents, sometimes for years. Then it morphs into a glass eel. It's still totally see-through, but now it actually looks like an eel. After that, it becomes a yellow eel. This is its main hangout phase where it grows and feeds in freshwater for, get this, up to 30 years. And then finally, it becomes a silver eel. This is its final form, ready for that last big migration. Its eyes get bigger, its skin gets tougher, and its entire digestive system just shuts down.
Yeah, you heard that right. To make that 6,000-kilometer swim, they literally stop eating. Completely. They swim for months, running on nothing but the fat they've stored up over their entire lives. It is just an absolutely incredible feat of biological engineering. But wait, there's more. The wild transformations and that epic journey are just the beginning. Eels have a whole collection of other tricks up their sleeves that honestly make them sound more like superheroes than fish. And here's a classic case of mistaken identity that trips a lot of people up. You know, the famous electric eel. Well, turns out it's not an eel at all, not even a close cousin. It belongs to a completely different family of fish. Our true eels, the ones making that crazy journey, are in a group called Anguilliformes. That electric eel is actually an air-breathing fish that can generate a shocking, pun intended, 860 volts. Wild. They also live for a ridiculously long time.
I mean, we already mentioned they can spend 30 years in their yellow eel stage, but that's nothing. The oldest eel ever recorded lived for more than 80 years, and it spent its life in a well in Sweden. It just goes to show you their metabolism is incredibly slow, and they can adapt to almost anything.
So that brings up a pretty big question, right? How in the world do they find their way back to that one specific spot in the middle of a massive ocean? Well, it turns out they have a kind of built-in GPS. It's amazing. Research suggests they use the Earth's magnetic field to orient themselves. They seem to have some kind of inherited memory of the route, and they can even sense tiny, subtle changes in the water's chemistry to home in on their target.
But all of this wonder, all of this incredible biology, it leads us to one last mystery, and this one is far more urgent. After surviving for millions of years, why are these incredible creatures suddenly disappearing?
And, well, the numbers speak for themselves. This chart is just devastating. European eel populations have absolutely collapsed. They've dropped by more than 90%. We're left with less than 10% of their original numbers. It's a massive crisis, and it's happening almost completely out of sight.
And the reasons for this crash? They're pretty much all on us. We're overfishing them, especially the tiny glass eels when they first arrive at our coasts. We've built dams and other barriers that literally block their way. Our pollution is poisoning their freshwater homes. And now, climate change is messing with the very ocean currents they need to survive. It's a perfect storm of threats. And look, this isn't just a sad story about one weird fish. It really matters. Eels are what's known as a keystone species. Basically, they're a critical part of the whole ecosystem. They're food for birds and bigger fish, and they keep other populations in check. Their journey connects the ocean to our rivers. If they're gone, entire freshwater ecosystems could be thrown into chaos.
So all of this leaves you with a pretty profound thought, doesn't it? If just one type of fish can do all this, travel thousands of kilometers on an empty stomach, completely rebuild its body 4 times, navigate using the planet's magnetic field, it just makes you wonder, right? What other incredible secrets is nature hiding, right under our noses? The eel's story is an amazing reminder that our world is still full of mystery, and there's always so much more to discover.